There's a new poll out from Pew Research. They asked if the government should take steps to restrict false information online. Basically, half the country said yes, the government should restrict false information. 48% of Americans say, quote, the government should take steps to restrict false information online, even if it limits freedom of information. Don't get me wrong, I think misinformation is a colossal problem. I just think you have to also hold on to your principles and your values and effectively the Constitution while you combat it. So the whole job of the media should be to give people news and information and to educate them and to fact check the insane conspiracy theories. But part of the problem is mainstream media has blown all of their credibility. So nobody is believed, or very few people are believed, when they check the incorrect conspiracy theories and when they check the COVID misinformation. So, I mean, this is a disastrous poll. And I mean, just stop and think about it, guys. If the government were to get involved and restrict information, what would they have done in the lead up to the Iraq war? I'll tell you, they would have banned everybody who was saying Saddam doesn't have weapons of mass destruction, and Saddam is not a threat to us, and Saddam didn't work with Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, and the war is based on lies. So everybody who was correct would have been banned, because the official government position was the incorrect position. So you can't police this stuff. It's not possible. There is no ministry of truth. Who's going to fact check the fact checkers? Who's going to watch the watchmen? You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times over, but I'm honestly astonished that the numbers are this bad on this question and that it's even worse in left-leaning circles. So listen, I know sometimes I sound like a broken record, but that's on purpose. I need to be a broken record on this stuff because it's just that important. So get out there and tell everybody you know, don't buy this. It's absolute nonsense. Stand by freedom of speech. Stand by the principle of it.
I am very sympathetic to what Kyle is saying here.
No, you're not.
I consider myself to be a proponent of freedom of speech. However, I believe that people are entitled to their own opinions, not their own facts. If a person wants to say, I don't believe in wearing a mask because it's a violation of my freedom, that is an opinion, and I think it should be protected. If a person wants to say masks are not effective at stopping the spread of COVID-19, that's demonstrably a lie, and they should not be allowed to knowingly propagate it. If a person says COVID-19 precautions are overly stifling and I would rather take the risks than conform to these guidelines, that's an opinion and should be protected. If someone wants to say COVID-19 is a hoax, that is a lie, and that should not be allowed. There's no political position that people should be barred from. But whatever your position is, your facts need to be straight and unimpeachable. And if they aren't, they have no place in the discourse. We've seen firsthand the results of rampant misinformation. They are a grave threat to our democratic institutions and to the public trust and to public health and safety. There are valid concerns about who should wield the power to stamp out misinformation. If you give the government the power to stop misinformation, they'll be tempted to use it to censor correct information that just happens to contradict their official narrative. Kyle uses the example of the lies we were told in the lead up to the Iraq war. There are also valid concerns about the epistemological criteria used to determine what is and what is not factual. For instance, one could claim that COVID-19 escaped from a lab in Wuhan, China. One could even claim that it was released intentionally as a bioweapon by the CCP. These claims, while often disputed and typically politically motivated, are not demonstrably false. We do not know precisely the origins of COVID-19. I think that what needs to happen is this. There needs to be a government administration that is made up entirely of scientists who are appointed to their position based on the merits of their scientific achievements and not based on their politics. The fact check administration, okay? The FCA. The FCA should have the power to determine if any given claim is incontrovertibly false and if it is socially deleterious. If they find that a claim is both incontrovertibly false and socially deleterious, then they should be empowered to stop its spread by any reasonable means. If any reasonable doubt exists that a claim is false, they should, of course, err on the side of freedom of speech. Whenever the FCA determines that a claim is both false and harmful, which should not be often based on the criteria I've outlined, A full report on the findings of this administration should be made public. The report would detail exactly what evidence led them to rule the claim false and what evidence led them to rule the claim harmful. This way, there is transparency to the process and people can look over the evidence for themselves. If the FCA is suspected to have abused their power to stifle dissent or for any other reason, as in Kyle's Iraq war hypothetical, then there should be an appeals process whereby a public hearing is held to determine if the body acted incorrectly. The entire thing should be completely transparent. What is the reason to oppose such a system? If checks and balances are present, it would be extraordinarily difficult to abuse. If the epistemological safeguards err on the side of freedom, it should not prevent anything other than demonstrable falsehoods. Freedom of speech should not mean the freedom to spread misinformation. It should mean the freedom to speak whatever opinion you want to, regardless of whether or not it's popular. The only people who should oppose such a system are those who need lies to sell their agenda. I don't particularly think that their right to do so is of any particular value to our society. I don't think it represents a freedom that is worth preserving. I don't think that making people play by the rules of reality is a threat to freedom of speech. It doesn't even limit what you're allowed to advocate for. You can still be an anti-vaxxer. You just have to admit that you're doing it out of pure obstinate defiance and nothing factual. You can still choose not to wear a mask. You just have to admit that that the reason you refuse to protect other people is just because you're an asshole, not because masks are ineffective. You could still protest for Trump to be reinstated as president, but you have to admit that it's because you just want that and not because the election was stolen. Let's face it, we live in a society where the messy and complicated truth is often beaten up and beaten out by simple and emotionally evocative lies. Truth needs help if it's going to win, so let's give it that leg up. The idea apparently already has popular support. Half the country's on board. Half the country is sick of the lies. Half the country is ready to see the political charlatans and fraudsters get gagged. And to me, that's an encouraging sign that we have not yet completely lost our minds.
You're a fucking dumbass, TJ. You're a fucking dumbass, TJ Kirk. Amazing atheist. This is why you're a dumbass, TJ. You know, without free speech, you cannot challenge, you cannot fix problems. You know, if you, who dictates what the truth is and who dictates what the truth isn't. It is not for man to be dictating such things. It in fact is the universe itself which dictates what truth is, and not even the universe. And not even the universe as far as some people would be even concerned. And I'm not talking about Christians. I'm not talking about any religion. You know, the truth is a transcendent thing which goes beyond even my understanding. It goes beyond our understanding. We think we know what the truth is, but we know jack shit. And if we're not allowed to figure out what the truth is by dictating to people, this is what the truth is. Jesus Christ is the truth, the way, the life. Like the Christians, then how the fuck are we to come to the truth? How the fuck are we to come to the truth, dude? Like, TJ. What the hell has gone wrong with you? You used to be relatively decent, but now you're not as good as you could have been. You've sold your soul to Satan, as they would say. You've gone to the dark side, man. You know, you're not as cool as you used to be. Bye.